Hey, what's up, everybody? Just wanted to make this disclaimer real quick before we get into this. Not everything that I say is going to be politically correct, but I don't really give a damn. I can't say that. What's going on, everybody? This is Chris, Small Circle. Just wanted to make this disclaimer real quick before we get started on the podcast. Not everything I say is going to be politically correct. So if I hurt your feelings or if I say something that is offensive to you, I'm sorry that you got your feelings hurt and you need to man up. Nope. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Chris at Small Circle. Just wanted to make this disclaimer real quick before we get started. Everything I say on here is not always going to be politically correct. For that, I apologize in advance. I'm not here to hurt anybody's feelings or to offend anyone. With that being said, enjoy the show. This is Leo's mom. Hi.
Hello.
She got the steak too.
Yes.
What do you think about your son's endeavor? You good?
I am good. I think I'm very proud of him.
You proud of him?
Very proud of him.
How's the steak tonight?
The steak is fantastic, perfectly cooked, great flavor.
Right on. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Wesley. This is Lee's brother. He's getting down on the steak.
That's right.
What'd you think of the steak, Wesley?
10. It's a 10.
Hey guys, this is Israel.
Oh yeah.
CEO, founder of GPS Records. He's gonna be on the podcast. Hey, what'd you get there, Israel?
I got a salmon with some taters and some green beans or whatever.
How's it taste?
Off the chain.
Yeah?
Good job, Leaf.
Hey, Clay Walker ain't lie, huh?
No, he didn't lie, man. Off the chain.
That's what's up. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Chris at Small Circle. My guest today is Leo Espithia.
How's it going, guys?
He's the founder, the CEO, the head chef, the sous chef, the maitre d', whatever, of a what do you call it? A traveling.
So it's called Amexicun.
The name of it is a Mexican.
Yeah, and it's a pop-up kitchen
Pop-up kitchen. Okay. Yeah.
that we do throughout Houston
Okay. All right.
and surrounding areas.
Okay. And as you can see, there's another chair right here. His fiance will be joining us shortly. She is feeding the baby right now. So
Yeah, we have a 2-month-old son, and we got to take care of little Leonardo.
yeah. So congratulations to them too, by the way, because last time I saw him, she was about ready to pop. So, but anyway, okay. Well, the reason why I have Lee, let's get this out the way. I didn't know your name was Leo until about a couple years ago. Like back in the day, whenever we were running around, I always called you Lee.
Yeah.
Like, everybody always called you Lee.
I mean, you know how we came up, man.
Right.
I mean, he's driving an Impala,
Right, for sure.
bass in the back, me, my older brother, you, traveling the streets in New Caney and
Shout out to
Florida.
Wesley for sure.
And
But
yeah, that's how we grew up. So I mean, yeah, I grew up. And that's the thing, when I was little, I'm the third. My son is the fourth. I went by Lee. My great-grandfather, my grandfather, his name is Leonardo Espithia the first, obviously. God rest his soul. He died last year from COVID. And then, my dad is the second, I'm the third, and that's the fourth. But yeah, go on.
Yeah. No, but anyway, he grew up around here. I went to school and graduated with his older brother. But Lee, you moved off, right? You were here, whatever, then you moved off.
Yeah, I moved off to go to school in Fort Worth.
Okay.
And then I moved back, did some college, and then decided it wasn't the right thing for me at that time.
Right on.
So.
Okay. Well, anyway, for those that don't know, he runs a pop-up kitchen, and he started in Houston, and it's kind of come full circle because now he is going to start doing weekly steak nights over at Swamp Donkeys, right?
Swamp Donkeys right there on North Park every Monday night.
Every Monday night, which is right off of North Park. Simple, I know the traffic might be a little bit, whatever. But I mean, it's like I said, it's just at the first part of Kingwood. So
Easy to get to, easy location, and plus it's around our friends and our family and people that we grew up with. So.
Right. I mean, come on. If Clay Walker signs off on it, bro, you gotta go there. You know what I mean? You gotta at least try it. I will be there on Monday, and I'm gonna see if Clay Walker's a liar. Clay Walker, bro, how do you do that, bro? How did that even come about? Because like that, bro. No, wait. How much pressure was on you to do that for Clay Walker? Because when I'm under so much pressure for cooking ramen for Tanya, bro. You know what I mean? Yeah. I can only imagine cooking a steak for Clay Walker, dude.
You know, I'm not gonna lie. It was stressful. Yeah. You know, it was very stressful. The timing, you know, superstars. Sure. You know. They go on their own timeline, you know. Right. He was supposed to be there at 5, and he didn't get there till 8:30. So I want to make sure, anything that comes from these hands is perfection. I want you to. I have a saying, and he would say it all the time: is eat with your eyes first. Yeah. And I think that's important. So it's got to be presented well. It's got to be hot. It's got to be tasty, just what he expected. He asked for 2 things. He asked for a house salad with ranch dressing, and he asked for a Texas-style ribeye with sauteed green beans. So I guess that's his favorite meal. Yeah. So, we prepared that for him at 5, and it was ready for him at 5:05, like we intended. But he didn't show up till 8:30, so I had to fire him another one. Yeah. But needless to say, I was stressing to make sure that it was perfect, because that's just how I am. Yeah. It's all precision, and it's got, if you know steak, it's got to be served like 5 minutes right after it comes off the grill to get that perfect taste and flavor. Yeah. And I was not, people get starstruck. Yeah. And I wasn't starstruck. I was just waiting for him to taste the steak. Yeah. That's what I was. So I was more stressed out, not about meeting the man. It was about him tasting our food and seeing what he was going to say. Right, for sure, right? Yeah. And of course, if y'all never saw the video, you look it up on Amexicun on our Facebook page or my Instagram page. Yeah. And the eye roll alone, when he puts that first, that said it all. I didn't even have to say anything. But then he went on to say, best steak he's ever had, right? Yeah. And he goes, ever. Yeah. And I was like, he invited us to stay for the concert. We had the best seats in the house. Yeah, table service. Yeah, man. Open bar. It was a great experience. It was the highest achievement this year for me, for sure. And it's only February. Right on. Yeah. So you do private events too, right? Yeah. That was a private event. No one knew Clay Walker was coming to town. That was a birthday party that some people paid for him to come out. Okay. And no one knew, and they had to keep it top secret. That's why I couldn't post about it prior to that. Yeah. But afterwards, he was like, man, let's take. He brought his own jacket. He wore a jacket and had to make full wardrobe change and all that stuff. But he was like, as soon as I started firing the steak like I always do, like our company does. Sure. He was like, hold on, pause. I was like, okay. He ran to his dressing room, got his phone, and it came back so he could record it himself. And that, I'll tell you right now, that is probably what's not only the flavor of our steak, but it was an accident when I came up with that to fire those steaks. Yeah. I did it to melt the butter on my steak one night, and everybody did this. And I was like, and with the thing? With the fire. And everybody brought out their phone and started recording. I told, my fiance, I go, we're on to something here. I go, from now on, every steak will be fired like that. Yeah. And that's that's the growth. Yeah, right, because I've never really seen anybody do that before, No one does that. Not many people do it now, after we've been in business 2 successful years now. Yeah. Now people are doing it. Yeah, so. You just had your 2-year anniversary. 2-year anniversry, okay, yeah. All right, now, to give the people some back history, right? You started out as a bartender, correct? Yeah, I was bartending out in Houston for about 5 years. But I've been in the service industry, going on 20 years now. Okay, so, I've always been a waiter. I used to manage the Home Depot right here in Humble for 5 years. Yeah, I remember that. I like customer service, that kind of stuff. You know, that it comes naturally to me. I
Yeah,
love
you're
talking to
definitely a
people.
person for sure. Yeah.
And I think that's a trait that just like my side of the family is, especially my older brother Wesley, if y'all know who he is.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean,
So, yeah, he's
like
solid.
he's
He's
a solid guy, talks a lot,
He'll
and
talk, yeah.
has a lot to say, but he's a pretty smart guy. He's sharp tack.
Yeah.
So,
Like all your family is too, man. Shout out to your mom too,
Yeah.
man. She loves your lady. Your brother, you got another one right in Australia, correct?
yeah, I have a little brother who lives in Australia. He is coaches basketball. He has 2 little girls.
Yeah. Shout out JP.
JP.
So what made you change over? What made you like, hey, you know what? I mean, have you always done cooking?
I actually had to call my mom the day because one of your questions were, when did you get started cooking?
Right.
And so I was like, probably ever since I could reach a stovetop, but I'd have to really ask.
Yeah.
So I messaged my mom. She goes, the first time that you ever, started cooking, you were about 9 or 10 years old. So I'm 40 now. So I guess I've been cooking for about 30 years.
Right on.
So
it's always been a passion for you?
Yeah, it's always been a passion for me because my mother's owned a couple of catering endeavors and restaurants.
Yeah, I remember that.
She's always been a great cook. My mom, you see in her barbecue contest with your dad.
Yeah,
They used to compete because they used to, cook brisket together.
Yeah, well, your brother can throw down too.
Wesley can throw down too. So yeah, that's one thing that my mother raised 4 kids on her own.
Yeah,
and so she instilled us, how to take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
She had to work a job, and so we took care of each other. So my older brother had to cook for us, and we all know how to cook, and we all know how to provide for ourselves. We all know how to live off the land.
For sure.
We know how to do things like that. So
yeah, that's important, man.
Very important.
That's important for sure. I know Christine. She helps you out. Quite a bit, whatever.
Absolutely.
We'll have her on in a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
You have a staff of what? How many do you have? I guess employed or help you out?
Currently, we have 6 employees.
Okay.
And we've had several different employees throughout, the build.
Sure.
But I guess a total, we probably had about 20 employees in the past 2 years.
Okay.
Now, having said that, you have to understand, we built this through COVID. You asked when it started.
Right, yeah. So you got to think back 2 years ago.
Yeah, think about 2 years ago. So instead of losing my job, you said, how did I get into this?
Right.
So it was because COVID hit. I was watching it at 3 different locations at the time, and COVID hit. So we got that call the day prior that me and my fiance were working at a bar called Dino's Den. It's on Richmond Avenue.
Yeah.
And we were prepping for St. Patty's Day, March 16th. And that's when we got the word we were all shutting down. So everything shut down. Everything went to waste. March 17th, everything we did for St. Patty's Day.
Oh man,
nothing.
Damn, all that preparation, all that
went into the wash.
Right.
But so when we got quarantined, everyone had to go home. Everything shut down. I knew that I wasn't going to be the guy like yourself. We can't just sit down.
Yeah,
we can't. My mind doesn't ever stop working like that. And so I told her, I was like, this is a good opportunity. And I was cooking the whole time we were in quarantine, and we had already discussed Amexicun prior to all this happening.
Yeah.
And then the law stated finally, in order to open up your bar, you have to be at 51% in food sales. And I was like, Christine, this is it.
Boom.
This is it. I said, let's do this. So the whole time we were in quarantine, I did catering to build some financial stability. Started cooking stuff like crawfish, mac and cheese, jambalaya rice, different steak options, and I was delivering it to different people. I did birthday parties during that time, no more of 10. And then we got our first gig that said, okay, Amexicun, come out to our bar and show us what you got. So I ran that kitchen. It's called the Ranch Bar and Kitchen off of Jones Road in 290. That's a far drive for us, but it was my first shot, so it was worth the drive.
Yeah.
So that's how we got into it, and that's how we've kind of built our stuff from that. Our staple, the number one dish when we first started out was the crawfish enchilada.
Okay.
And crawfish enchilada served with the homemade black bean chutney sauce, like charo bean style.
Right.
And homemade Mexican rice. And that plate sold crazy. It was just, everybody loves crawfish, man. It was an easy sell for me.
For sure.
But it had to taste good too. But
yeah, right. Yeah, man, everything's gotta taste good for sure. So that was gonna be my next question. All right. So you do steaks, right? Is that your like, I guess, your main dish? I guess that you do steaks, but you have other stuff on the menu, right?
Right. So I mean, when I first started out, I'm like my mother in a lot of ways when it comes to food. I can cook anything.
Right.
Anything you can think of, I know how to cook it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not the best baker.
Right. Yeah, your mom's
My mom's
got
got she got all these cakes going on.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not that guy.
Right. Yeah.
However, I can cook just about anything under the sun, and my menu was so extensive. We were doing wings, enchiladas, tacos. We were doing steaks. We were doing all different types of food for this bar. And then the second bar came up and said that they wanted a Mexican. And I wanted to say that real quick. It's kind of like a play on words. So it's like a Mexican's in the kitchen. I wanted it to sound like that. It sounds derogatory, but I want to make sure that you guys understand that it's a blend of the three. American, Mexican, and Cajun. And it's put into one word. You say it just like American, but you say Mexican. One word. So, that being said.
Yeah.
So, where were we at? I'm sorry.
No. So, like I said, okay, like Tanya, she has a very sensitive palate. She doesn't like this whole hipster shit with avocado toast and all that other shit like that. She's just a meat and potatoes type of person. Yeah. If somebody was to come to you, to a Mexican, and say, look, I that's all I want. Or they're gonna be, because a lot of chefs they get offended by that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Be like, no, I don't want any of this other stuff, whatever like that. All I want is meat and potatoes. That's all I want.
Right. So now I know where we're going with this. And so when we got our second bar, it was called Public House in the Heights. Mm-hmm. With this guy I used to bartend with, his name is Marcos. He said, Leo, he goes, food's great. Everything. I was doing the birria tacos with the dip. Yeah. I was doing, he used to call that the dip and the drip. And he's like, man, everything just is so good. He's like, your menu is so big because you got to find your identity. And that was something that it resonated with me. It was like, find your identity. And I was like, well, I thought I found it because I'm cooking. I'm making money now,
Yeah.
And, but I had to take that in, and then I was like, what is our highest grossing item right now? What do we sell most of on the best nights? And that was steaks.
Okay. And
so now we've transitioned from doing all those things across the board to just solely specializing in steaks because the flavor it's nothing like you'll ever taste. So once you taste it, you'll understand. And it's not your traditional salt and pepper steak. Can we do that for you? Absolutely. But you should taste the flavor of the steak.
Yeah, right.
The way we make it, and you'll understand.
Right, for sure.
Where my roots are from.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Like I want it. I love fusion. I love diversity. And we can touch base on the other brand that I run. It's called Crawfish Community.
Yeah, so I was about to get into that.
It's on Facebook as well.
Right.
And it's so one-sided, Louisiana versus fusion. But this being said, if you're on that page, fusion is important, and you should be able to taste everything across the board and not just be one-sided on everything. Just give your palate a chance to try some other options. You may like it.
Yeah, that's for sure, right? Let that old saying, whatever, right? You won't know it until you won't know if you like it until you try it,
exactly.
Right? So.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm always down. I'm always down for that.
But also product control with all of that. I mean, you just think about all those different things. Lettuce, tomato, pico de gallo, all that stuff that you gotta make fresh, which we pride ourselves on fresh food.
Yeah.
So all that stuff goes bad really quick. So your gross margin return on investment is very low on those items.
Okay.
So you're going through a lot of waste.
Right.
With steaks, I can marinate them, I can keep them. If you have the same product every day, you can use them every day.
Right.
Especially if you got 5 bars lined up Monday through Friday. You know, you can go bam, 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 bam. Anything that I drop here, I can pick up here. You know, and it's easier that way. It's less product, higher margin.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're saving costs too, right? Because you're not actually having to rent out a place for, you know, as a restaurant. I mean,
Right.
You know,
Right.
pay the. I'm assuming, you know, pay for the permits or whatever that a in-house restaurant has.
Right.
You know, you know, you just pick up whatever. Boom. I'm assuming everything's off of generator and gas.
Yeah, well, actually, we really just run on electricity from the bar that we're in,
Okay.
and we run on propane because I do flat iron, cast iron grilling style. One of our mottos is the sear, the juice, and the truth, because you get that sear, it's still juicy, and when you taste it, it's the truth.
Right on, man. That's cool, bro. That's cool. All right. Well, to touch on the other endeavor that you have, the crawfish. Was it Crawfish Connection?
So crawfish community.
The Crawfish Community.
Crawfish community,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
So when you look it up, you'll see 2 crawfish on each side. It's all one word, crawfish community. We started out with 20 bartenders on that page because we like to drink and eat crawfish and go find the best prices and the best deals on drinks.
Right.
And we started it I started it, and I got all these people on board with me, so we'd go on outings and go eat crawfish and drink and go try different places, and then that turned in from 20 followers to now we're at 41,500 followers on Facebook.
Okay.
So we're going to transition that into a marketing scheme as well, and we're going to tie it all in together. That's how we got Swamp Donkeys.
Okay.
It's because of a crawfish community that we built.
Okay.
So,
Right on. Right on. Are you, is Swamp Donkeys like your foot in? Are you gonna try to get some other like crawfish places? Because you know there's millions just out in this community. You know.
I never say no.
Right.
I just don't know.
Okay.
So
yeah.
if the opportunity presents itself, I'm not the one to say no, but we go do our homework,
For
and
sure.
we make sure that it's going to be valid for us.
Right.
In our
Right.
business.
I mean, yeah, because
So-
I'm sure it's a lot of time and a lot of money. That,
Yeah,
you know,
it
that
is,
it
and
takes you
a
to
lot
do.
of people don't want a partner, you know, that has another food source on their premises.
Sure.
You know, so I mean, if they're not selling crawfish, then why are you here? You know, you're just you're kind of fishing in my pond, so to speak.
Right.
You know, and but he sees value in me, and I see value in him. So we're gonna grow. You're about to see something that's gonna be totally unique. It's gonna be a surf and turf right on North Park.
That's
And
and
it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be
Okay.
awesome.
Well, for those that haven't been to Swamp Donkeys, I haven't been there in a while actually. But is it outside or is it inside?
It is an outdoor.
But they have like a
picnic table.
they got a tent right in the middle.
Yeah,
of
so
the
it's like a tiki,
okay.
big tiki.
Okay.
Think Survivor Island with a big tiki and big
Right,
posts
okay.
and stuff like that.
But they got heaters and stuff for everybody.
Yeah,
out
so they
there and
wrap
stuff?
the whole outside of the tiki with like some clear plastic
Okay.
to trap in the heat, and they have space heaters inside. They also still have tables outside, but they did do that service for their customers so they didn't lose business.
Yeah,
So-
right. Yeah, that way it can kind of be an all year round type deal.
Yeah.
Not just in the summer. or
Absolutely,
spring.
absolutely.
Okay, well that's cool. You also have another endeavor, right? Which is videography and
The
photography, or just
videography and photography is what we're going to be boosting here soon. I do all the videos and all the marketing for my Amexicun page. If you've ever seen any of our videos, the edits, the videos, the music, all of that is from my one device right here, and I am transitioning that into crawfish community as well, to where if you want to be on our page, we will start after February 14th, Valentine's Day, when we're actually going to be getting into the real crawfish season. You'll have to pay to be on that, pay to play, so to speak.
Right.
But it's very cheap. It's $10 a week to promote, or it's $40 a month to promote, or you can pay $200 up front and get the whole season.
Okay.
So
The
and then-
crawfish season.
right?
What does that run from January to June ish?
Well, it's gonna run longer this year. I think we got
Yeah.
we had a wet season this year, so we got an additional 2 months. So everybody was saying, "Oh, we went and had crawfish, but they were small." Well, at least you got crawfish,
Right. Like
You know,
that's
it's
unheard
like-
of.
Yeah. So I mean, it's gonna run. Usually, through March to like July. Sometimes it goes to August, and then you have your dry season, and they're farming. And I don't really know all of those details about it. I really don't. I know flavor though.
Yeah.
And I know crawfish, and I know people, and I know how to get the word out. And that's where I come in. So the additional charge to be on the page is for the promotion. Now, for me to come out and do videos for you and promote, that's $38 an hour. I'll shoot the videos for your establishment. I'll make you the video, and then we'll boost it on our crawfish page as well. So you'll have to pay the $200 package for the season, but you'll also get that video that you can use every time on every page, on every platform that you have for that. So
Okay.
usually takes about 4 to 5 hours. So just pay me for my gas and my time, man.
Yeah. Right.
I'm not trying to steal anything from anybody. I'm just trying to make something for mine, and run me and my time. And you're gonna get something out of it, because those videos, if you haven't seen them, they're pretty legit.
Yeah, they are legit for sure.
So-
Yeah, definitely. Which I'm definitely. We could talked about this before this podcast and do whatever. But I want you to do an intro for mine for sure. For
Oh
the
yeah,
podcast
you got
series.
Small Circle's gonna be all over.
Yeah, man. I'm hoping.
I can't
man.
wait. I
I'm
can't wait to
hoping,
do
yeah,
that
for
one.
sure. I'm excited too, man. I'm excited too. But anyway, she just popped in. This is Christine.
This is my lovely
This-
fiance, Christine.
Yeah, this is the rock. Like Tanya is my rock. That's his right there. Let me give you a little background on what happened. You might notice that Lee seems kind of out of breath or whatever, or the raspiness in his voice. He had an unfortunate event last year or whatever. He ended up getting shot. Speak on that briefly, because I'm not sure how in depth he wants to get into that. But nobody could really get a hold of Lee and see how things were going and all that stuff like that. It was during COVID and all that stuff. Nobody could be there with him, whatever, stuff like that. So I had to go through his brother, because everybody was sick, worried about him, so whatever. I didn't have his mom's number. All I had was Wesley's number, right? And he said that I'll check on him about twice a week, and Christine had been updating him like almost daily. So that's to me, that speaks volumes for sure. They say that saying, behind a great man is a great woman. You know what I mean? And I believe that fully. As I'm living proof. Because Tanya, she's so great and supportive, and I feel the same way over here.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
I'll let Christine take over, and she can explain that experience for her from that side, because I'll talk about the voice situation first. My voice is kind of like it's cuts in and out quite often now. We had an unfortunate event at a bar. It was our fifth or sixth bar that we had landed at that time, maybe seventh bar, and
we've been there like 4 or 5 times.
yeah. But I'm trying to tell you the guideline of what bar it was. So we had been in business for about a year and a half, and I think that we were in business a year and a half, and we took on this bar. A good friend of mine was the GM of that bar, and he called me up and he was like, "Hey Leo, what's it going to take for me to get a Mexican in our kitchen?" And and so I he's a good dude, and we used to bartend back in the day together, and I used to go visit him, and I was like, "Man, it's not going to take me anything, man. What day do you want?" We chose, and we went out there, and we provided that service, and we were killing it, and everything was going great. One night, I sent my crew home and everything. Me and him would always have a breakdown after, how their numbers were, how our numbers were, what we could do differently to be successful together. So that night I'd sent her on home. I sent my staff home, and I went back inside the bar after my Jeep and our product and everything was loaded up and safe and sound. Went inside, and evidently a gang fight had broken out in the bar earlier that evening. And shots started blazing through the bar. 58 rounds of ammunition was fired through the bar. And the 58th bullet is the one that got me, and it went through my shoulder. It was my right shoulder here, and then it came through to my throat, to my larynx. And this is what I used to sound like.
Yeah.
And so with that being said, I had to have an injection in my right vocal cord, and I was a month in the hospital and induced a coma so I could breathe. I had to have a breathing tube shoved down my throat in order to breathe because my lungs had a lot of blood and mucus and all kinds of stuff. I just couldn't breathe on my own. There was no airway. She can tell you a little bit more about that. The reason you can hear me so well today now is that your vocal cords work right here. The right one was paralyzed after the gun wound, and I went to go get an injection. It's like Botox, and you have two vocal cords. So my right one was paralyzed, and they injected it with Botox, so it got fatter. And so now my left one vibrates my right one in order to talk this loud as we do now. It works like guitar strings. When you hit the top guitar string, the second one vibrates. Same process. Now I'll let Christine take over and tell her the experience that I didn't really know what was going on during that month. After that, and mind you, she was pregnant during this time, and God bless her. I mean,
So I mean, that had to have been shocking for you, right? For one, I mean, you don't wish that on anybody, you know, and you don't ever think. I mean, you think that something like that might happen, being in downtown Houston, something like that, you know, with that environment and all that, but you don't. You know, you don't ever think it's gonna happen.
Yeah, it was definitely not the safest bar for us, but the money was good. The people that worked there, they were great. You know, it was just not in the best part of town.
Right.
So he'd always send me home early.
Okay.
He'd be like, hey, if something happened, like, you know, you need to go here. But we just never thought that would happen or hit so close to home.
Right.
You know, and then, you know, I kept calling his phone that night, and I had a bad feeling, and then somebody else answered it, and they were like, you know, he got shot, and I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Like,
Right,
don't,
like it's a joke, right? Stop playing, right?
That's a stupid joke. Like, why would you say that? And they're like, no, Christine, it's real. And then I couldn't get anyone on the phone. So I drove over to the bar and had a cop. They told me where he was. So he was over at Bentov. So I went over to Bentov and multiple times to try to get in and see him, and they wouldn't let me see him until finally I could, you know, finally one of the cops called me and told me, the detectives called me and told me he was out of surgery, but, you know, he was still in critical condition. And so finally I could start to, like, video chat with him.
Yeah.
But he wasn't awake, of course, but I video chatted him every day.
Yeah.
Until they finally took his breathing tube out, and
it's a lot of sign language.
I bet, yeah.
It was a lot of, like, trying to tell her that I loved her. And
yeah.
Sure, right, yeah.
And then, you know, but that was just like the beginning. You know, the hard part was when he got home, and, you know, he could barely talk, he could barely walk. He could, you know, it was just hard. And being, like he said, I was 7 months pregnant. It was definitely difficult, but it was, you know, I think if I wasn't pregnant, I would have taken it a whole different way.
Yeah.
I think the baby really helped keep me at ease and, like, calm.
Right.
And, you know, but it was definitely difficult, but, you know, we got through it.
yeah,
You know, it wasn't something I knew we would overcome it. It's just a daily thing.
I think knowledge is good, and to talk about this, I really don't like talking about it. I'll tell you that now. I don't like talking about it. I like moving forward. Yeah. A friend asked me the other day, how does it feel like starting over? Now, I didn't think that was a proper question.
Right.
But it made me stop and think, and I was like, you know what? It's not really starting over, but it is. But it helps you forget the pain from the past by starting over.
Yeah.
So anybody who's going through something, you know, forget that pain so you can move on in your future. You know, you don't completely ever forget it. I have a lot of PTSD now, and a lot of things going on in my life, but you're never gonna forget that.
Right.
But you learn from that, and you do better because of it. And I think that's a definite reflection of how I run my business today and how I try to take care of my employees and treat people genuinely. When I look at you in your eyes. I talk to you like I would like to be talked to.
Yeah.
And I think some things that I needed to learn came through this. So I try to use it as a positive lesson learned, and use it to my advantage sometimes as well.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, it's got you this far, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And, like, trust me, like, if you weren't a solid dude, I wouldn't be having you on the show, that's for sure, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, you've always been a solid dude to me, your family, solid, it's just, like, Christine's solid, I only met her a couple of times, but for her to, man up, being pregnant, and handling all that, the whole situation like that and stuff, man, that just,
she's total warrior.
Yeah.
I'll tell you how much of a warrior she is that the whole time when I was in the hospital, you think I was in induced coma, so I didn't rip out this breathing tube out of my throat and stuff like that. So they had to seduce me and or sedate me. I'm sorry. She did that.
I was gonna let that slide.
She did that.
I was too, but
She seduced me.
What hospital are you going to, bro? You know what I'm saying?
Oh my
But
goodness.
anyway, go ahead.
Heavily sedate me.
Right,
And do sedation.
Yeah, because you were trying. Yeah, I heard. You
I
were
pulled
trying to pull
out
everything
my catheter.
Right.
Gosh, that's no pain you want to go through. I pulled out my breathing tube, all these processes, but I just didn't know where I was at. You're on all these drugs.
Right on.
They're trying to help you, but you feel like you're being force fed. You're just like you're just powerless.
Yeah.
That shows you how strong she is. But the drive that I had, after getting shot, my whole right arm was paralyzed. My whole right leg was paralyzed. And what you said earlier, the hardest part is when I got home. What they don't tell you is that if you check yourself out of the hospital, that you don't get pain medication. You don't get extra attention. You got to go find all that stuff yourself.
For sure.
And so that was the hardest part. So after I woke up, I was scared, and all I wanted to do was to be home. And I hadn't seen or heard anything about my business for a month.
Right.
I stayed and laid in bed for another 2 days and watched things that was going on, getting these injections they were giving me, and I don't even know what they're giving me. One lady gave me a COVID shot, and I had to ask her what it was. Different stuff like that.
Yeah.
So on the second day, I'm like, I gotta go.
Yeah.
I gotta go. I had only taken 6 steps out of my bed, and there was a curtain around my bed at the time. And so at nighttime, they have a buzzer on your bed, by the way, as well. So every time you get out of your bed, it buzzes and alerts a nurse. So I got out of my bed and would teach myself to walk behind this curtain until I could walk a little bit.
Right.
Most people know that I was in a wheelchair for about 3 months after, and then started walking a little bit more after that.
Yeah.
And I'm finally getting full use of this arm to where I can cook again, and I'm getting feeling back. And it's still numb from all the way from my fingertips all the way down to my right knee. It's still numb. Yeah. But I'm walking again. I can cook again.
Right on.
So the smiles on my face, positivity from your past. You got to make something positive out of it.
Well, yeah, for sure. That's why I respect you so much. That's why I wanted to have you on the show, man. Because like anybody else, they probably just would have gave up. That, you know what I mean? It's like, it's during COVID. You were out 6 weeks. You know what I mean? Like, and like the PSD or the PTSD alone. You're like, man, I don't know if I want to go to another bar again. What if this happens again? What if my family's there? What if this and that? You know what I mean?
It never leaves you.
Right, but for you to just roll up your sleeves and be like, let's go, let's do it again.
Yeah.
That's and then look at it now, man. You just cooked for Clay Walker. You know what I mean? So that's
I know.
Imagine if you would have gave up.
Right, I know. And
awesome.
we could have got you know, all the disability and all that stuff, all the Shakespeare, yeah, all that. But I mean, that's not the way I want to live my life.
For sure.
I finally found, everybody searches for that niche.
Yeah.
That success. I mean, I think that's why I felt for so long. I'm 40 years old now.
Yeah.
But I finally found my niche. I was not going to give it up.
Right. Yeah.
Not going to give it up.
Yeah. No, I hear you, man. Okay. Well, getting back to this though, let them know the schedule and the hours of operations and stuff like that, right? Okay. You're at Swamp Donkeys on Monday, right? What about on Tuesday? Like,
right.
Does that change up, or is it?
So
is it
so we do have a set schedule.
Okay.
So Monday nights, starting February 7th, we'll be at Swamp Donkeys right here in Kingwood. Tuesdays, we're at Sunset Rooftop and Lounge. That's in East Downtown. That's next to Truck Yard. That's a good kind of like map for you because it has a big Ferris wheel there. But we're right above that. It's a beautiful bar, great date night spot. Just a gorgeous venue. It has an indoor seating and it has an outdoor seating as well. Beautiful view of the city. Wednesday nights, we just kind of started a new endeavor with one of the biggest bars in Houston. It's called Axelrad. That is a gorgeous bar. It's upstairs and downstairs, indoors and outdoors. They have live musicians, live music. We just now sold out our first date night there this past Wednesday. Thursday nights will be at Yellow Rose Distillery, which is on Post Oak. And they're in the middle of their build, but the inside is completely beautiful. It's all indoors, but they're going to be building onto that in the next couple of months with outdoor seating, patio. They're going to start their crawfish season as well.
Okay.
So they're going to be doing great things at that bar, and we're very happy to have that bar. So that's our Wednesday night, or the Thursday night spot now.
Okay.
And then on Friday nights, we will be at Raven Tower. Raven Tower is located right next to White Oak Music Hall. That's how I got the gig with Clay Walker. Her name's Alyssa Oakes. She's a bartender. A lot of the things and groundwork that has been paved for me is because of my name through bartending and being in the industry.
Okay.
I don't think people understand how much the industry, especially in Houston, how much pull they have.
Right. Yeah.
So it was just a phone call. It was like, hey, do you think Leo would want to cook for Clay Walker? And she was like, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but let me call and make sure.
Right, yeah.
So I get this call, I'm gonna send an answer, and they're like, hey, how would you like to be a personal chef for Clay Walker on the date? And I'm like, looking up, it's like, is this real?
Yeah, right.
Like, I don't even see an event. I don't see a concert page.
Yeah, stop playing on my phone.
Tickets. Yeah, stop playing with me.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, we're serious. So I'm good. Count us in.
Yeah, for sure. Man. That's awesome. Man. That's awesome. Anybody that hasn't seen that video of Clay Walker, man, it's priceless. Guaranteed. Let's see. Do you have any advice? You have any advice for these young cooks that are coming up? You see the reality shows. The cooking. I don't watch any of them, but whatever the cooking battles that they have, all that bullshit. I mean, like
I watch them all.
Everybody kind of wants to be a cook now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And stuff like that. It's starting to, started a little trend or whatever and stuff. Do you have any advice for anybody out there that's wanting to do kind of what you're doing?
I think the advice that I would give, especially to children that don't have a direction, or if they do have a direction to cook, it's just to try new things. Work, put in the work. I started cooking by the age of 9 or 10, and I learned by watching, my mother. I watched by watching those cooking shows.
Yeah.
We're so fortunate this day and age that the younger generation has everything you could ever possibly want to know. You can look it up at your fingertips. Yeah. So I'd encourage you to use those tools and learn from it. If you really love to do it and you're really passionate about it, then you don't necessarily have to go to school for it. I would encourage you to go get some of those techniques that you can get hands-on training for it. But if you wanted to be self-taught like I am, I would encourage you to watch videos, watch cooking shows, Watch somebody who knows something. Work in the kitchen. Just work in the kitchen. Work in the service industry. Work the whole. See how the front side works. See how the back side works. See how the dish pit works. Learn all of that, because when you start your business or you want to be a chef, all that's going to come into play. And I never knew that. I never knew that I was going to be a chef. I never knew that I was going to be an owner of my own business.
Yeah.
I had no clue. But all those tools, I think that every job you ever had, it teaches you something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what I would encourage you to do. Learn and absorb as much as you can in whatever experience you've ever been in. Learn from it and watch it grow, and use it so each job is a stepping stone.
Yeah.
So you may not love that job.
Well,
You may hate being that dishwasher, but for the aspiring chef, it's the technique is everything, and to play with it all and capture it. You know how like it took me to design our plates that we have?
Yeah, right.
Like build them, play with it, see what works for you, for what your eye is. You know, the only way you're gonna get better is to practice at it.
Yeah, it's like practice and patience, right? Like you don't, like none of these plates and stuff came to you overnight.
No.
You know, I'm sure it took years or months or whatever of preparation and stuff
Absolutely.
like that. And
Absolutely.
that should be a lesson to you younger kids, like that. Just be patient and and respect the process. Like for these mechanics out here, they didn't just wake up one day, learn how to work on cars. They started with sweeping the shop and changing batteries and changing oil, doing the things that they don't want to do, but it makes you respect the trade. Like I was watching a podcast the other day, and one guy goes, when we were growing up, I want to be that when I grow up. Now it's like I want to be that now. Like this generation is like, I want to be that right now.
Right.
I don't want to, have to work in the kitchen and do dishes and stuff like that. I want to be a chef.
Right.
You know what I mean? Well, you got to, get in where you can, where you can fit
Right.
in. You know what I mean?
You got to pay your dues.
There it is. Boom.
You got to pay your dues.
Yeah, that's for
and,
sure.
And you're not going to be number one. Look at Kobe Bryant. Look where he was the greatest in the world, but he had an unfortunate event happen to him and his family. But you know what? That man was practicing from sun up to sundown, and one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
And he idolized Michael Jordan. And you can tell his gameplay, but you see that how if you ever watch them too, and they have those side by side videos, it's almost the same moves.
Right.
But he perfected.
That's what he didn't wake up one morning and just started doing that.
He watched it. He studied it. He perfected it.
Yeah.
And then he made it better.
Right.
Because he paid his dues. He went to the gym every day. He shot those baskets.
Yeah.
And he practiced. And practice is the biggest thing. Is practice.
Yeah. Right. And you can kind of tell whenever you have a passion for something is like you're not going to give up on it. If you're that passionate about it, you know what I mean. Just take your failures. Learn from it and move on.
Yeah.
Try to perfect it just like you did.
Yeah. My grandfather used to say, sometimes you're gonna have to take some licks you don't deserve.
Right. Yeah.
And that's a true statement. You're gonna have to take some licks.
Yeah.
But I mean, and look at me. I took a lot of haymakers, but you got a choice. You can either lay down or you can stand back up.
Right on. Well, that'll work. All right, man. Well, we'd like to end the segment or whatever with the top 3. Okay. Now you being the crawfish guy, the steak guy, the food guy, and all this whatever. I wanted to ask you what top 3 places, restaurants, bars, whatever, would you recommend to to go support? You know what I mean? Like
that I love to eat at personally.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Or or just somebody tell them 3 places that they should go support because they're solid dudes or they're in your small circle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, so I was talking about this over with her last night, and I really had to take a step back and really think about it. But I'll tell you where the top 3 places are, and they've changed from what I actually have prepared. We love sushi.
Okay.
Sushi is technique. It is not as easy as it looks. It's very precise. So I like one of those restaurants to be able to see that, sitting in front of those sous chefs. They're preparing sushi.
Yeah.
I think it's just magical, and it's just so, it's a work of art. So I like Umi. It's located on White Oak. It is now open. It's actually right next to Public House in the Heights. That's spelled UNE. Great sushi place if you love sushi. And everybody's gonna really laugh at this one. Our favorite one that we go to all the time is Texas Roadhouse, a steakhouse. Go figure.
Yeah, dude.
But it's not the steak. We don't go for the steak.
Yeah.
We go for the prime rib.
Yeah.
Okay.
The prime rib is amazing there. If you've never had it, I'd highly suggest the prime rib. She gets what she gets, but you know, I took I took a Canadian trait, which I get French fries with brown gravy, and I gotta keep this round figure.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah.
but French fries with brown gravy with the prime rib, absolutely delicious. And then also a little bit of my background would be Carrabba's. Believe it or not, Carrabba's. I used to work for Johnny Carrabba, and his brand for 5 years as well, and it taught me a lot. That guy is a stand-up individual.
Yeah.
We had dinner there the other night. He remembered me, came up, shook my hand, smiling, just loves what he does.
Yeah.
He sold his whole brand, Carrabba's, but he kept his two babies, which is the Kirby location and the Voss location. Voss location is obviously in the Galleria, in the Upper Kirby area. It's right off of Kirby and Richmond Avenue. But that guy's something else, and they actually have amazing steak as well. But they have a lot of other great things.
And he's still there at those locations, like walking around and all that stuff?
He's still at his main location. His baby is the Kirby location, so
Okay.
you could probably always find him walking around at that location.
That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, there's Carrabba's everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere. And you wouldn't think that I would say Carrabba's. I used to work for this one on Keywood Drive. Then I transferred to the one in Webster.
Yeah.
Then I transferred out to Houston. So I mean, it was a great company, and like I said, it taught me a lot. It taught me a lot about service. Papa's Seafood brand.
Yeah.
Papa's Seafood, I worked for them for years. Ninfa's, all those big names, I've worked for them.
Right on, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, if we had more time where, I mean, you can give your resume and all that stuff,
No, we don't.
everything.
But
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
that's
That's to touch a little bit, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, hey, man, I appreciate your time, bro.
Hey, man.
It's always a pleasure, bro. I love seeing you. I
It's
love
okay.
seeing your family.
Small
All that,
circle.
dude. Yeah.
Small circle. Hey, look, this is right here. You're gonna see this. It's gonna grow. Mark my words.
Hey,
Mark
well,
my
I really
words.
appreciate it. I
Mark my words.
appreciate the time that you, Christine, has given me today. I really appreciate it. Like I said, for the locals out there, go support Swamp Donkey. If you've been there, you know the place. He'll be there every Monday night. Go if you want to get out into the city. Go to his your Facebook page, your Instagram.
Yeah, you can
all
check
that.
us out at Amexicun, spelled Amexicun. You can find us on Facebook or Instagram by that tag. And you can see exactly what we do before you actually come out. And you can also check out our schedule, timing, and see all that information there.
Right on, yeah. I say he's pretty up to date almost every day. You always see him on Instagram posts and all that stuff like that. Like I said, if you're like me, you want to support local, go see him on Mondays, at least, or if you want to make a trip, whenever it's only like 25, 30 minutes down the road, go check him out in Houston. If at the least, share his post, share his page, go like him, go follow him, support local, So, but anyway, like I said, man, I really appreciate you being here, bringing the family in. It was cool, man. It's nice catching up with you.
Yeah, man.
But,
It's good seeing you.
yeah, man. So, till next time, stay tuned, stay safe, stay solid, keep your circle small.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.